Big news, my favorite microbrand watchmaker, Boldr Supply Co. actually now sells knives, so we definitely have to talk about these here on Tick and Tactical only on the Time Teller channel. It is 12:31 p.m. Let's get down to business. Okay, so we know and love Boldr Supply Co. for making some really robust, resilient, interesting, kind of modern takes on outdoorsy watches. Everything from field watches with varying complications and layouts, all the way to some really overbuilt divers. And here on my wrist today is a Boldr Odyssey 2.0. This is an overbuilt, overspec dive watch, 500-meter water resistance rating with a threaded crown. Awesome kind of stone-washed finish, a kind of sunburst chocolate dial with color matched date, automatic Swiss Salida 200 movement powering this thing with a helium escape valve if you're actually going to go super duper deep, which I never will. I'm going to put the full specs on screen here, but this watch is awesome, and I have a whole lot of experience with Boldr watches. I've had, I think, 3 different Odysseys and like 3 or 4 different Boldr expeditions, and I think I've had 2 Boldr ventures. Just awesome watches, and again, these are watches that are affordable, overbuilt for what you get, and they definitely fit my lifestyle. Being outdoorsy, going out and about and having something you can just rely on. It's not quite a G-Shock, but it's something that you could knock up against something and not really have to worry about. And it looks good doing it. Now, Boldr's been a supporter of mine pretty much since I started this channel, and it's funny, they love the products I produce, which is the content, and I love the products they produce, which is the wristwatches. So when I learned about their knives, I was very, very excited. Now, those of you who know me know that I have more knives than like a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It's just another thing that I don't collect with the same urgency and fervor that I do with watches, but knives are just something I always use and just seem to accumulate more of. And just like wristwatches, knives are something I have on my person 24/7 pretty much. So, you know, I open a lot of boxes and a lot of packaging day to day here in the office because, well, I run YouTube channels, so we always have products coming in, products going out, things to review on camera, and having a blade on you is just kind of a necessity at this point. Now, I'm going to share with you some of the knives that I always have on me within kind of a rotation. So the first one being a Gerber flat iron. Now, this is like a pocket cleaver, super duper affordable, and I really do like this kind of flat dark earth scale here. It's tough. Is it the best steel ever? Is it the best, most expensive knife you can get? No, but this is essentially a glorified box cutter. So it does the job, and it's, you know, very easy to sharpen, and it keeps an edge decently, so I can't complain with this. And it looks very cool. The next is a traditional case knife, okay? I've mentioned this in some episodes here before. Every dude needs just one of these simple 2-bladed case knives. You can see how dirty it is, but this is razor sharp, boy. I use these all the time, and it's just easy to throw in your pocket, and just really classic, right? Speaking of classic, this very, very old school Joseph Rogers and Sons British paratrooper knife from World War II, 1945. Oil the joints. It tells you how to take care of it. Such a cool knife. And again, for opening packages, it's perfect. I take this camping all the time. I've cooked with it. I've opened boxes with it. I've opened cans with it. It has an old school can opener. It's just very, very cool. And next, when it comes to my kind of everyday utility knives, I gotta go with an Opinel. Now, this thing is incredibly old. I've used the heck out of this, and somehow, every time I sharpen it, it just ends up being the sharpest blade that I have, and you can see this blade's been through a lot. It's got a burnt tip there. I've heated it up by accident. I've taken this camping so many times. I've cooked with it, I've eaten with it, and again, just daily duty opening boxes, this knife is perfect. And it's very, very simple, and I do like the kind of locking system that it has. Which brings us to this. Now, this is, I believe, what Boldr calls the Woodsman, and it is very nice in presentation. As far as the wood, it looks super nice. It's just a simple liner lock single blade, and out of the box, this thing was incredibly sharp. So this is actually the Woodsman II utility knife selling right now at Boldr's website for $179. So this is a closed length of 4.3 inches, open length of 7.5 inches. The steel is Boldr M390. It's a drop point blade, and its handle is Burmese Dalbergia. Liner lock, of course, and it weighs about 56 grams. Now, I swear by Boldr watches. Okay, I've never had an issue with a Boldr watch. I've never had to bring in a Boldr watch for service or repair. They just work exactly how I want, and I put them through their paces. With this knife, I was very eager to do the same. I've carried this in my pocket for pretty much like just under a year now, on and off, and I've had this in my backpack for the rest of the time, and it's just ready to do kind of utility duty, right? Opening packages, opening, let's say, like, for instance, this. Getting something like this in the office constantly. Just a simple FedEx package, having a utility knife like this to open it up, it's just, you know, it's like clockwork. I do it every day. So how does this Woodsman II stack up to the other knives I've mentioned? Because this at $179 is substantially more expensive than this Gerber flat iron. This Gerber flat iron, I think, was like 20-something dollars. Well, I think it's a very beautiful knife. I do like the scales. The issue, though, is how it's held up after pretty much on and off duty for just under a year. The scales, I'm gonna put it up to the mic. Probably sounds worse than it is, but there is some wiggle here. The tolerances have deviated a bit. So it's an easy fix. Just go in there with some Torx screws, hit it with some Loctite, and you'll be fine. But I understand people out there who will say, well, you shouldn't have to do that. And I get it. You spend $179 on something that you want to use every day, and it should just work, and you shouldn't really have to worry about it. It's shifting a little bit. I'm going to have to go ahead and tighten this up, and again, probably hit it with some form of Loctite just to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But after just under a year of use, the blade has held up just fine. But again, with the scales coming loose, it calls into question the integrity of the I keep saying watch, of the knife itself. So Boldr watches never had an issue. Their Woodsman II, I suppose this is an issue. Boldr has always treated me incredibly well, and I know for a fact my viewers who have interacted with Boldr and their customer service have had only nice things to say. So I'm sure if I hit Boldr up and I say, hey, this has happened, I guarantee you they're gonna come back with a solution. So I'll let you know, I'll give you an update on what they're going to do about this, but I did wanna come on here and say, I absolutely love Boldr. They're probably my favorite microbrand watchmaker, but this, I do not think it's as perfect as their watches, but we'll see what happens. So I'll give you an update in a little bit, but you let me know what you think. And out of my kind of daily utility knives that I've showed you, which is your favorite and what's your daily utility knife? Again, none of the knives. Wow, it's almost like I'm a watch channel. I keep saying watches. None of the knives that I've shown you today are like my defensive knives, but for glorified box cutters, these are all quite good. This one needs a little work though. But yeah, leave me that comment. I will catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman. The Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.